Hi, I'm Caitlyn Scaggs. I'm the Associate Vice President for University Relations here at Radford University. And today I'm joined by Allison Pratt. She is our Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Management and Director of Financial Aid. Allison, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Caitlyn. I'm really excited to be here.
So we are looking forward to the fall when all our students come back to campus. We welcome new Highlanders. What types of things should they be thinking about from a financial aid perspective?
So there are a lot of things to be considering right now, actually. It's time to really start to put some framework around how you're going to pay for your education in the fall. The first and most important fact is that we want to make sure that everybody knows it's not too late to file your FAFSA. So if you haven't gone out and submitted your FAFSA, that can be done at studentaid.gov. And you'll want to make sure that you have your information along with your parents' information and those signatures submitted. And we do encourage you to go ahead and submit that form to us as soon as possible, but no later than August the 1st, so that we can help you with payment before the start of the semester. If you've already filed your FAFSA, we definitely want to make sure that you have received your award letter from our office. If you haven't received your award letter, then you definitely want to connect with our office to check on the status of your application. We do regularly email all students anything that might be outstanding, and we're working to connect with students on a one-on-one basis to make sure that everything's complete for the fall. So just make sure that that connection happens so you can make sure that you have everything in line for your financial aid for fall semester. The other consideration would definitely be if you are looking to pay for pieces of your education out of pocket, that you are investigating and learning more about the Office of the Bursar's payment plan process. That allows you to break up your outstanding balance into multiple payments over the course of the fall semester. You do have options this year in regards to up to five payments if you sign up by the beginning of July. And so you definitely want to make sure that you have reviewed that information available on their website as well. You can sign up for the payment plan using the portal, and the Office of the Bursar is available to answer any questions about what those payments might look like over the course of the fall semester.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the function of the Office of the Bursar, because that might be something that folks haven't heard about before, but it's a really important office to understand.
Sure, absolutely. It is one of the most important offices to understand on campus. The Office of the Bursar is responsible for all payments that are handled on campus in regards to what we call direct costs. So that would be your tuition and fees, your room and board, your housing, your meal plans, things of that nature. And so they will be the office where you receive your actual bill. They'll be the offices where if you have any outstanding payments or any fees that need to be paid towards the university, that's where they collect that information. They also are the office mostly responsible for direct deposit, and so that's the office that helps you with refunds and to get that direct deposit set up for payroll, paychecks, etc.
Okay, so if someone is interested in paying out of pocket, that would be the place that they go to set up the various payment plan options that we have in place. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that is correct. So all payment plan options, along with all direct payments, are handled through the Office of the Bursar.
When thinking about paying for a college education, what options do students have?
So there are a lot of options that are available. One option that students can consider once they're back on campus in the fall would be our Foundation Scholarship Program. That application opens in the late fall for the upcoming academic year, and that's over 600 scholarship programs that are offered to students for assisting in funding their education. So that is one opportunity. We also have private education loans, and those are loans that are offered through banks or credit unions. We often recommend that students look at, if they need that additional funding route, look at an institution where they have a relationship. So your bank where you have your checking account, or your bank where your parents bank. If you have a credit union affiliation, then we definitely would encourage you to talk to those institutions if you need some additional funding on that front. There's also a Parent Plus Loan program that is offered by the federal government, and it's part of the Direct Loan Program. And that is a federally backed loan that allows parents to borrow on behalf of their students, and repayment doesn't have to occur until after the student graduates. And so that's another opportunity that students have in regards to being able to fund that education.
So we may have some students who are interested in working while here on the Radford campus. Are there options available for them?
Absolutely. We've got a lot of opportunities for our students to engage on campus with employment opportunities. We have a work-study program that has over 700 available positions across campus. We also have partnership opportunities. Our bookstore is a partnership with Barnes & Noble, and they do seasonal and full year hiring, which provides students an opportunity to work as school starts or as school ends to help with the additional flow in that area. And our dining operations are all operated by Hartwells. And so that partnership also allows our students an opportunity to be employed and to receive a free meal with every shift that they work on campus.
That's a nice bonus.
It is a great opportunity for students.
I like that idea of students who are interested in working, finding something here on campus, because I think it's so important for our students to get plugged in and to get involved. And so that's one way that if they need to work, if they want to work, finding an opportunity to do so here on campus with the people they'll be interacting with every day, I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely. It's a great way to connect with offices, and it's also a great way to pick up a skill set, transferable skills, right? That's everything that we're looking for in a college education, is how do you take what you learn in the classroom and outside of the classroom and turn it into a skill that you can use later in life. And so connect with those offices. You never know what work study position could lead you into a job that you never knew would work out for you in the long run.
That's a great point. So understandably, parents often have questions about their students' finances once the semester's underway. But I understand there's some privacy rules around that. So how do families work around that? What should they do?
Sure. So there are privacy rules around what information can be disclosed about a student's account once they're registered and once the semester begins. And so it's very important that a student has a FERPA on file with the Office of the Registrar, because they are in control of what information can be released about a student's account. And so a student will have to provide a release of information and who that information can be released to. As institutional offices, we are required to look at that information before we can talk about an account status with a parent. And so that holds true for the Office of Financial Aid, that holds true for the Office of the Bursar, and that also holds true for academic advising and the Office of the Registrar when it may come to grades or finances.
Okay. So if I understand this correctly, even though the parent is paying, that doesn't entitle them to information about their child's account. There has to be that release on file in order for that conversation to be able to take place.
It absolutely does indeed mean that release has to be on file.
So an important next step then for families who want to be able to have those conversations would be to proactively get that release on file prior to the start of the semester, so that we know everyone can have the appropriate conversation should things come up.
Yes, absolutely. We encourage you to file a FERPA long before you ever step foot on campus, so that everything is ready to go when you arrive on campus for fall.
Wonderful. Now, thinking towards the fall, there's still a lot to be done. It's going to be here before we know it. What kind of deadlines are there? What kind of things do our students need to be thinking about and, let's say, checking off their to-do list?
Absolutely. One of the most important parts is to keep up with the bill due date. So we want to make sure that you have all of your finances in line by the time that bills are due in August. You also want to make sure, in regards to financial aid, that if you are borrowing loans from the direct loan program, that you have your entrance interview and master promissory note completed. And so those need to be completed no later than August the 10th. Actually, that's a pretty important date for us, so that we can have all of that processed prior to the start of the semester. We also encourage all of those students to make sure that they are ordering books or placing book orders to arrive in time for campus. But in regards to other important dates, those are our primary, in the Office of Financial Aid, those are our primary important deadlines.
So I'm curious about how financial aid can help with expenses. Certainly tuition is one thing to think about. What about meal plans? What about costs associated with living on campus, or even books? Can you help us understand a little bit more about how financial aid contributes to those costs?
Sure. So financial aid contributes to all of those costs.
Okay, great.
As we build out a financial aid package, we take into account your tuition cost, your room cost, your meal plan cost, and we have an allocation for books. We also include an allocation for personal expenses if students don't have the money up front. And so we look at all of those pieces as we put together your package, and all of those offered aid programs will credit your account to assist with those charges. And so really, we're hopeful that we can get you to a point that you have a manageable balance due or no balance due at all, and are able to use some of your financial aid to live off of or to purchase your books.
So we've talked a lot about what students should do leading up to their arrival on campus. Sure. What about once classes starts? What can they expect once class is underway from a financial aid perspective?
Absolutely. So one of the things that is most important is when your aid credits your account, and if you are expecting a refund, what that timeline might look like. And so we do release aid prior to the start of classes so that refunds can begin that first week of class. It's really important, if you are looking for a refund to assist with your educational expenses and or housing expenses, that you have direct deposit set up so that can be direct deposited into a checking account. That will typically happen within the first 3 or 4 days of the start of classes within that first week. And then beyond that, you actually don't have a whole lot of interaction. If you have all of your finances lined up prior to the start of the semester, then everything's smooth sailing
so
until
that's the goal. It's
Exactly.
minimal interaction because everything's in place.
Everything's in place.
Okay.
However, that doesn't mean that it's not too late to get everything lined up once you're on campus. So if you are missing something or if you need to talk to somebody else, we can still continue to work through the process as you arrive on campus. We just need to make sure that you have payment arrangements lined up to ensure that your tuition and fees are covered.
So what I'm understanding is even once they're on campus, if there are questions, the doors to the Office of Financial Aid are open to receive those questions, to receive those students. There is someone here who's going to support each student through their unique journey.
Absolutely. So we are here every day that the university is open to provide service and to answer those questions for our students. Even if you are looking for another office on campus, we will hopefully be able to direct you in the right space. However, we do definitely want to walk through any questions that you may have about even future semesters. It's always important to remember that financial aid is just an annual existence. You do have to refile every year. So when the FAFSA opens again in October 1 of 2020, you'll have to file for the next academic year. And so you do have to keep in mind that finances are a semester or yearly basis. And so you just really need to keep up with those primary deadlines.
So all the more reason to get to know your office now, because you all are going to keep interacting with our students as they complete their Highlander journey.
Absolutely. We will be with you all 4 years and beyond if you choose to stay with us for grad school.
Wonderful. I can understand where maybe some of our incoming students are just feeling a little overwhelmed by the process because this is a lot to take in. This is a lot of new for folks. What would you say to those folks who are just trying to make sense of all this and really understand the next best step?
Well, the most important part, Caitlyn, is really just to ask questions. We have lots of opportunities. The office is available on the phone from 8 to 5 every day, so you can call us directly. You can also schedule an appointment in regards to what works best for your family's time. We have available appointments throughout the course of every week, and a counselor will be designated and assigned to make sure that all of your questions are answered. And that doesn't mean that you can just schedule one appointment. Schedule them again and again until you feel comfortable, but always make sure that you're calling in to inquire and ask your questions. When it comes to the finance realm, every application is different. And so we want to make sure that everyone understands that we will work through your individualized questions and that there's never a question that can't go unanswered or a stupid question or there's something that you should be afraid to ask.
Right. Oh, I think that's fantastic. I love hearing that there are people available to walk our students, to walk our incoming Highlanders through any questions they may have. That's great. Let me ask you this. What makes you proud to be a Highlander? Why do you love to be part of the Highlander family? I know I've seen you at basketball games. I know I see you across campus. So what are some of the things that you love?
I would probably go the collegiality is my favorite part of campus. I don't think it varies. I don't think it matters if you're a student or if you're a professional staff member or if you're a faculty member. Everybody is very welcoming and very friendly. I walk across campus and always see a familiar face. I also love the student-centric nature. I am a very student-centered person, and so I work to engage with my work study students. I also am very closely engaged with the student population in admissions. And so I just think that we are truly trying to figure out how to make that experience work for all of our students. And so there are lots of faculty members across campus who are constantly on the lookout to help their students grow in ways beyond just learning what is required in the classroom.
So Allison, thank you for your time today. You know, I've learned a lot. I hope our students have learned a lot. What I'm really hearing most from you, though, is your office is here, your office is available, and you are going to walk our students through whatever questions they may have. So no stress, no worries. Pick up the phone and call the Office of Financial Aid.
Absolutely. That's what we want all of our students to know, is that we're here to help. The process is very different and can be very challenging for some students or very easy for others. And so please let us help you navigate that path to make funding your education an achievable dream.
Thanks, Allison.
Absolutely. Thanks, Caitlyn.